we've been trying to look cool where we start the timer and then affect it, but I haven't.
Canadian national anthem.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the OPL3 Championship matchup between the Borough FC B men and the Woodbridge Strikers B men. This final matchup had an interesting build-up of events leading up to this. The Borough FC B men actually were facing off against the Kingston Sentinels earlier today, but they only shot penalty kicks because the previous matchup was abandoned right before they got to the penalty shootout due to a lightning warning, and they had to face off here at 6:30 p.m. to determine who would play off against the Woodbridge Strikers B team in the finals of our OPL3 matchup. So to some extent, the Borough FC have gotten into the right state of mind before this. They may have had a little bit of a longer warm-up, but the Woodbridge Strikers had a bit more of a comfortable pathway getting into this, although you must consider the fact that they had to come from behind to face off against Railway to win 3-2 to stake their place in the finals here today. This should be an interesting matchup. Woodbridge Strikers in the blue jerseys, the Borough FC in the green. And before we get started, we'd like to say a big thank you to some of our proud partners of the Ontario Premier League. A big thank you to the Cruyff Institute, educating the future leaders of the soccer industry. Gatorade, rehydrate, replenish, refuel. A big thank you to One Soccer, the home of soccer in Canada. Follow your favorite OPL alumni as they compete in the Canadian Premier League, the TELUS Canadian Championship, and with our Canadian national teams, all exclusively on One Soccer. And things get started off with a high-flying attempt into the Woodbridge defense, as the Borough FC will look to take more of a patient approach to approach this Woodbridge side, which has a lot of potential to really go all the way. But as they showed some resilience in the semifinals, they wouldn't go down without some fight. Just to remind you, they're rocking their third kit today in the green, the stylish green, if one could say. And here's Woodbridge launching our first attack of the game in the blue jerseys, as that's comfortably swept away by the Borough. Woodbridge starting off their attack, and they're faced with a number of bodies in the midfield area, as even Nechi Poruk, the captain, looks to calm things down. This will be Vincent Kopp to try to make an advancement. He'll play it off to the left. That's well received by Dante Labile, but well intercepted by the Borough, as Woodbridge mounting on the pressure to try to force a turnover over in the Borough half, but Borough survived the scare. No foul call is given as Woodbridge look to launch their own attack, and that'll go out of play. Still a bit of a balanced start, less than 2 minutes into this game. Nothing too threatening from either side to cause anyone to begin to break a sweat. But things could change on a whim. This is the finals, and this is the time to leave everything on the line. The referee just waving the Borough to throw in a little bit more close to their position where the ball went out, as they'll get things started underway. Trying to go off the right wing. Couldn't find its way to the isolated striker, and the Woodbridge will look to reset things as they play it back to the goalie, Nicholas Terciaro. He has options up front. That's well received by Andrea Mora, but there are many options for him to link up of, and that will be received by Liam Janiki Ceballos. That's played out of bounds. It's a turnover in favor of Woodbridge. Just a reminder, we still want to say a thank you to some of our other partners. A big thank you to MSA Major Sports Analysis, delivering the data behind the game. Every men's and women's OPL match is powered by MSA Insights, with performance features and data-driven spotlights shared across the OPL and club social media channels. Woodbridge looking to advance with a dangerous cross into the box. It'll be cleared away by Di Bueno. Finds its way back to Madden. Madden looking for options off the left. It's back at the feet of Madden, who finds the captain, Nechi Poruk. Spreads it out to the right with a lot of options. Bruni waits and receives it. And he's fouled. That would alleviate some of the pressure. But Woodbridge doing more of the dangerous attacking so far in the first 4 minutes, looking the more likely to get on the scoreboard. Here's Kopp. Kopp advancing through, well intercepted. Alexander thought about chasing that, but it was well ahead of his reach, as Di Bueno looks to put some more pressure. Bruni, well intercepted by Diaz. Diaz is in acres of space, tries to spread it out to the right, but it's a little bit too close to Terciaro. It will calm things down for Woodbridge. It's played long by Terciaro. The lone striker once again up front. Mora not able to get on the header this time for the flick on. This will be put out of play by Pietrobon. And this beautiful match ball on the field is courtesy of Voits, the official ball of the Canadian Premier League and the preferred match ball of the Ontario Premier League. And how about these beautiful jerseys? We spoke about the Borough FC's third kit in green. Well, Hummel is the official apparel supplier of the OPL. And we mentioned this earlier, but a big thank you to the Canadian Premier League, our game, our country, our league, and Ontario Soccer, encouraging us all to play, inspire, and unite. That is out of play as the ball is still hanging in the Borough half. Woodbridge still trying to string together a series of passes to hopefully break away out of the pressure of the Borough. Almost marginally goes out for a corner, but the referee will restart play. That's going to go out for the first corner of the game. This will be for Woodbridge. Here we have Nechi Porek trying to get the lads organized. We can see the congestion of Woodbridge over at the penalty spot. Soon enough, we might see some of them break away, perhaps towards the near post. The referee just reminding the players early on of their responsibilities as he tries to moderate a fair game in our finals of the OPL3. Here's a corner from Woodbridge. The ball scrambles away, but it's well put out by Di Bueno. Put right back into the box, and there are players up there, but it's an offside flag from the assistants. A little scare early on for the Borough, but they're saved by the flag. Here's the captain, Dorgan. Finds its way to Negri. Negri will play it back to defense as he's closely pressured by Mora, but he will play it out, and it's right back into the feet of Woodbridge. The shirt of Capella was pulled back, and the ref will call the foul. And Woodbridge will have a second chance to play a dangerous box in. We saw the attempt earlier on from the corner where the ball started to scramble a little bit, and there was a bit of tension from the Borough side trying to deal with the pressure. Mora has options on the far post as they curl in. The ball is played a little bit towards the mid-range, and this is tapped, and it will be a corner by the ref. Yet another dangerous ball played in by Woodbridge. Woodbridge are going back into their familiar sequence, starting off around the penalty area, looking to break away and cause some confusion. We see the spread of players. It's played to the near post. Ball's not dealt with yet, and finally a struck, but it's a little bit of a wild attempt from Alfieri as it goes wide. Borough looking to play out from the back. They're faced immediately by the pressure of Woodbridge. It's played long and dealt with comfortably by Woodbridge as it's tapped on. Alfieri plays it in. And the safe hands of Janiki Zeballos will claim it. Woodbridge now looking to start an attack of their own. Here's Dorgan. Dorgan off to Garibo. Quickly pressured by Leto. And that's pushed all the way back. Dorgan will look to reset to Zeballos. Zeballos is closely marked by Mora. He opts to go long instead. Not many options. Looking up in front, and that will comfortably fall back to Woodbridge. Menendez meets it in the middle, and there's opening on the left. Striding is Garibo over on the left. It's a 1v1 opportunity, but he opts to go back to Menendez. Space in the middle for Borough. Play back to Davidson, who will try to slice it through and thread the needle. A great pass is played through by Menendez over on the right side, but it rolls out just a little too far ahead of the winger, and that'll be a Woodbridge throw. That's the first real sequence of play where we've seen some Borough momentum as they try to alleviate the pressure of the Woodbridge attack with a little bit of an attack of their own. Here's Borough's 11. We hear the shouts for a foul call against Diaz. Fortunately, they get the call. And now they'll have a chance to test their mettle from the set piece. Borough with a lot of spread bodies over at the box. It's played safely to the back as Woodbridge send the bodies forward. Here's Dorgan. Dorgan back to Davidson. Borough looking to spread it all the way across the back, and as they've done earlier on, look for their midfield options to the middle. Dorgan is wide open on the left. He'll have a channel to play it in through to Garibo. Garibo's met with a defender. Dorgan calls back for it as he's looking for options to switch it to the right. And there's acres of space for the winger. It's a 1v1 opportunity played in by the Borough. Comfortably dealt with by Comp. And now Woodbridge have the chance to strike up a counter of their own. It's a through ball play too. And the keeper rushes out to clear this off. A brave challenge from Zaniki Zeballos, who was able to deal with the pressure. Borough was showing a bit of optimism on their attack, and in committing bodies forward, left a little bit of a gap at the back, which Woodbridge almost exploited. But thanks to the brave heroics of Zeballos, the scoreline remains 0-0. Here's a second opportunity for the Borough. Almost a smart pass into the attacker, but it's well dealt with by Woodbridge. That will go out of bounds for a Borough throw. It says the OPL3 finals between Woodbridge SC B and the Borough FC B. Live at the Zanking Automotive Soccer Center. Menendez will spread it out to the right. The winger receives it, and a crafty flick on almost finds the winger in a great space. A sequence of flair almost got an attack going for the Borough. Again, well dealt with. And Vincent Kopp will play it in through. Almost intercepted by Menendez. Here's Sekon off to the winger. Menendez tracking back to win the ball, and he'll earn himself a foul. That's some great effort from the midfielder, who has oftentimes found himself in pockets of space in the midfield and tried to be the glue that gets the attack going for the Borough. And it's great to see some of his defensive efforts. Here's the ball spread out to Diaz. Diaz tries to bring it under control, but he's well pressured by Bruni. And that will go out for a throw. Mora. It's a little bit of a scuffle over by the byline. Spread out to Dorgan. He finds Davidson. Zeballos will look to carefully pick his pass as Dorrigan spreads it out to Davidson. And they opt to go off of the right to play the long ball. All the way up, the towering Alexander isn't able to bring it down. The defender gets rid of the danger. A great pass over to the right, and it's chased by Leto. But once again, Zeballos comfortably runs out to get rid of the danger. The offside flag of the ref did go up anyway, so that wouldn't have counted if that was a shot at goal. But we're getting the early flashes and signs that the goalie for Borough is a brave player, not afraid to step in when duty calls to make the right plays. It's spread out over to Garibo. Garibo will look to play it off to the striker, but the pass is a little wayward, and that's a turnover, which Woodbridge will look to capitalize on. Diaz doing well to hold out play, and through all the pushes and shoves, finally gets the whistle to go his way. And now Borough will look to meticulously try to pick apart this Woodbridge defense. The high-energy style of play that we're seeing from them is really stifling this attack from the Borough. It's important to see that earlier on in the game to set the tempo and set the momentum. But oftentimes can be difficult to maintain across the span of 90 minutes. And that's essentially what the game of soccer is, a game of two halves. Here's the ball at the feet of Menendez. Plays it back to the captain, Dorrigan. Davidson goes long, looking for the cutting Garibo. Well kept by the defender. Even the captain will put it under control, but it's put out of play by Borough. Here's Woodbridge. Off of the left. They played into the middle. It's almost a 1-2 combination. It's intercepted by Lucas Negri. That will go out of play. Borough ball. Captain Dorrigan spreads it off to the right. Borough looking for the right moments to play the long balls that they've done quite often in this game. A bit of an ambitious attempt to the wing. Isn't able to be put under control. And here's Ivan, the captain, dealing comfortably with the pressure. It's off to the right. Here's Bruni. Back to Ivan. Bruni tries to play it off to the middle. Intercepted by the Borough midfield. It's an overarching ball into the left wing. Woodbridge are able to control that and play it off, but it will fall into the safe hands of Janiki Zeballos. And speaking of the goalkeeper, in order for the Borough to qualify into this game, they had to go through a round of penalty shootouts earlier this day, pardon me. Where the winning penalty shot was taken by none other by the goalie, Liam Janiki Zeballos. It's played back to his feet. A little collision with Garibo and Mora is nothing. The ref will not call that. Davidson plays it off to the striker, Alexander, who drops a little bit deeper. He hasn't seen a whole lot of action in this game as he's been lurking up front. He's essentially playing as a target man to receive some of the long balls that Borough love to go for. But one might say he hasn't had a whole lot of service going directly his way, enough for him to have a major impact this game. So he might have to change up his approach, perhaps drop a little bit deeper as we see with strikers like Harry Kane, and force a link-up play, pull out a defender to get something going. Intercepted by Diaz, And retreat right back by Woodbridge as they launch in the attack and try to get something going. It's a weave of dribbles going through the middle. Yvonne, the captain, will spread it off to the right wing. Here's Bruni. Plays across into the middle. Almost met by Mora, but it's intercepted by the defender. And calmly caught by Liam, the goalie. Borough starting off their attack a little bit deeper. They're looking to find the striker, Alexander. And just like a series of passes that have attempted to go his way, hasn't quite stuck the landing as they would have hoped. That'll be a foul against Woodbridge as things slightly get a little bit heated over on the far side, and the ref will look to break things up and cool the tensions. In about 20 minutes of play, both teams have somewhat set up their strategy with which they would like to approach this game with. We've seen quite a number of long balls from the Borough looking to find their target man, Cosmo Alexander, up front. Although they would hope the efficiency has been a little more precise, whereas Woodbridge playing with more energy between both teams, chasing down every ball, closing in with numbers, and that looks to be the name of the game for them. They've had a couple of opportunities to play the balls into the box, and so far after 20 minutes, not too many attempts being severely threatening on either side. But it's still too early to tell. This is the OPL3 finals. Everything is on the line. As Woodbridge call for a handball shout, which is not given. A little bit of a ricochet off of the feet of Menendez. Bounced onto his hand. The ref deemed that unintentional and in the natural act of motion, so that wouldn't be called. Here's Borough looking to reset off the right. Pass is almost intercepted, and now Borough have a bit of space to work with. But Alexander is surrounded by 3 Woodbridge players. The captain, Avon, almost dispossessed by the lurking Diaz, who has been breathing down his neck over in the midfield. That midfield duo of Joshua Diaz and Gabriel Menendez looking to have quite a fair bit of potential to string together an attack for the Borough and hopefully work their magic. Here's Borough to restart proceedings. Off to the left is Garibo. Garibo looking to play the first-time ball into the box. The goalie will chase that and does well to put on the brakes so he doesn't run out of the box and potentially commit a controversial offense. Here's the winger of the leg. He's lightning quick, dashing all the way into the box. A couple of crossovers and looks to find an open man. He'll turn over, but he's met by the defenders of Borough, and they force him out of the box. He still holds on to it and finds Even at last. Even will look to play it off Alfieri. Alfieri finds Mora. A lurking later will play it across the box, and that's almost tapped in, but well put out by the brave defending of the defender who stuck out a leg to tip it out for a corner. Woodbridge have their first real chance of the final, as Lato played a dangerous box square across the 18-yard area. And a simple tap-in would have made that work to get the first goal of the game and open things up a little bit more. But we still sit at 0-0 thanks to the great defending. Here's a box from corner. Well defended by Borough. He'll lift the reattempt off the left, but is hit a little too far ahead of the player, and it will go out for a throw. The ball's played into the half of Borough. As the defending of Garibo almost caused an opening for Woodbridge, but that'll be stopped by the refs and things will restart. Garibo plays it off to Albermaki, dropping a little deeper than we've seen earlier in the game for him. Dorrigan will play it square across to Davidson. Davidson will stride forward. He plays it off to the right for Diaz. Diaz tries to play it through to Alexander, but is cut off by the defender. Here's Negri, will square it across to the left, and that is intercepted by Bruni, who was fouled at the midfield. And Borough are doing a pretty decent job of trying to find open men by playing the ball square to the wings whenever necessary to exploit the open spaces. But the accuracy just letting them down a little bit. As Bruni will look to charge off the right. It's passed back to Ledo, who does a little link-up play with Bruni. Bruni will play a box in, but it's a little too close to the goalkeeper. Janiki Zeballos, who will claim it, as the ref will count him down and he'll throw it long. Dorrigan, as we've seen in a number of occasions, will spread it to Davidson. Here's Dorrigan, whose touch let him down a little bit. Does well to slide and recover. But still, Lady of Woodbridge will get this off the right, looking for an opening to try to find Ivan, who cuts back comfortably and plays a first-time cross in. That is well dealt with by Liam. And the support from both sides well evidenced here at Zanking Automotive Soccer Center. Mora tried to find an opening. Was met with some pressure. It's the first time shot by Alfieri as it goes wide right. The first real attempt from outside the box from Woodbridge. Woodbridge opting for the high press to force a mistake from the Borough as they opted to play along, and now Woodbridge recover. Here's Ledo. Finds Bruni. Bruni to Ivan. Ivan looking for options. All the gaps are closed by Borough. They opt to go left. They'll go off the wing. The speedy winger plays it in the first time. And Davidson managed to get a touch on that, which killed the speed of the ball. And Liam will scoop that up. There's Davidson off to the right. Borough looked to find Alexander. And that's one of the few moments where we see the ball at his feet, but it's put out of play by the Woodbridge defender. Here's Borough. Back to the middle. Dorrigan. Borough oftentimes love to exploit the right spaces as Alexander drops into a midfield position. Looks for a link-up play. Ivan will step in to try to force an interception. Alexander does well to recover. He will play the ball square across the box. Albert Markey couldn't get a touch on that. It was a little too far behind him as he had just seemed to outrun the ball. And Terciaro was right there to get a hold of it. Woodbridge survive another scare. As now things open up a little more. They will try to force it down the left. They're met by two defenders, and they will go out of play. And we can see the effect that Alexander dropping a little bit deeper can have on the Woodbridge defense. Him stepping out is able to pull away one of the defenders with him. And if the link-up play can be successfully executed, we see good things happen for the Borough. Here's Diaz looking to fight through the pressure. It's a turnover to Woodbridge. Bruni will find Ivan, who quickly taps it off to the left. Abile will spread it off to the right. Well found by Garibo, who looks for Albermaki, who had a chance earlier on. Plays it off to Alexander, who has a little more room. Nutmegs the defender and tries to tap it through. But Cobb kept his cool and was able to deal with the pressure of Alexander. Here's a long ball forward. Alfieri off the left. Matched up with the defender. First time ball into the box, and it's headed in first time by Andrea Mora, who opens up the game for Woodbridge. At just a half-hour mark, Andrea Mora was lurking through the middle of the box, and a beautiful cross played off the left wing was tucked away nicely into the right bottom corner to open up this game for Woodbridge in our OPL3 final. And Woodbridge have been relentless in delivering service into the box at any given opportunity.
Woodbridge goal scored in the 30th minute by number 18, Andrea Mora.
And you can hear the celebrations as they've been piling on the pressure and waiting for that right moment where things will go their way. And finally, the deadlock is broken after half an hour. And now the pressure is on the Borough to see what they can get going in this final matchup. And Andrea Mora has always been a service option up front. We've seen a lot of times how Woodbridge look to press Borough high and force mistakes, force things to happen, force opportunities by not giving them a lot of time on the ball. And so his instinct had been sharpened to find the right position where he had a little bit more space than was afforded him before. When you play in those early balls, it's easier to get openings before the defense has its chance to set us up in a nice manner. And there we have Andrea Mora capitalizing on the opportunity. As Borough will look to break, they have an opening. It's a ball played over to the top for Diaz. And Terciaro will slide in there to get rid of the pressure as Mora looked to play a ball in through to the striker. We've seen some brave goalkeeping from both goalkeepers that have afforded their team the breathing space to not go down by a couple of goals. And now Woodbridge can break away. It's spread it to the right for Leto. Leto will be matched up against Dorrigan. And Dorrigan is able to stand his ground in a comfortable manner, but the offside flag will go. And you can see the momentum of the game just starting to ramp up another notch as a sense of urgency is beginning to dawn on these players. And that's the beauty of a goal coming this early on in the game. The pressure starts to mount and things start to get a lot more interesting. Here's Alexander playing it back to the defender. Back to Ceballos. He has options off the left and through the middle. Dorrigan under pressure. Tries to find Albermarki. Well dealt with by Bruni and the collective defense of Woodbridge. Here's Kopp. Kopp to Liam. Liam tries to thread it through the midfield. And Menendez looked to tap it on to Alexander. And that'll be dealt with by Woodbridge. Off the left is Woodbridge. They're looking for an opening. First time cross play to the back post. It's well kept in by the Woodbridge attacker, who is 1v1 against the defender. Here's Leto looking to the byline to play across through. He's trying to find Capello off the left wing. And a little bit of a tussle between Capello and the defender will finally be penalized. And the ball will go to Borough. Woodbridge will get us underway in a moment. It's spread over to Capello off the left wing. He'll look to cut inside. Thought about playing the first time cross. Opted to play the back heel to the overlapping defender. Here's Capello again. He's speedy and he's crafty. He hits a combo dribble and plays over the cross, but it's just a little bit overhit, and that will go out for a goal kick for Borough. It's off to the left for Woodbridge. They'll find Kopp. Spread out to Madden. Ivan spreads it over to the right. A little bit overhits. Tried to find Leto, but it will go out of the bounds. The ref will blow to bring the ball back. Borough was advancing a little too far forward for his liking. Here's Davidson. Davidson finds Diaz, who was open in the middle. Albemarque's calling for it on the left. He'll receive the spread cross. And now he has the opportunity to go 1v1. He's quick and tries to cut inside, but he's met by 4 Woodbridge defenders. He'll have to tap into his reinforcements. Menendez spreads it off to the middle. Davidson looking off to the left to find Negri. Negri does well to bring this down. Here's Davidson. Thought about opting for the left again. Instead, will advance it over to the right wing. Woodbridge are doing well to hold their defensive formation and close out the channels. And it's becoming more difficult for Borough to find the link-up passes that they're looking for. But now Dorgan has an opening, and he'll spread it off to Negri. Alexander, the tall striker, drops deep and finds Dorgan again. He'll spread it off over to the right. Menendez plays it back. Dorgan will receive it. Has some space to drive into. Opts to go back into the congested area. And Borough deal with the pressure comfortably. A nice touch by the defender. As they'll spread it over to the left. Albemarque is in acres of space. He's right at the edge of the box. But that's well defended by Alessandro Bruni. And that'll be a yellow card dished out by the ref, our first of the game. Torchiaro will get things restarted shortly. Again, this is the OPL3 finals between Woodbridge and the Borough. Borough in the green, Woodbridge in the blue. Albert Markey has had quite a number of adventures over on the left wing and has had some opportunities to make something happen as he finds himself open. The ball is tried to be played through to Alexander. Well cut off by Kopp. Secon tries to find Capello, but it's over hits, and he'll go out for a throw for the Borough. The previous yellow card was dished out to Yassine El-Bamarki, perhaps for dissent on that previous play, as the defender launched in with a vital interception to stop his promising attack. And he's had quite a number of opportunities to make something happen whenever the ball was swung over to his wing. He's oftentimes opted to go for the inside cut-in, perhaps to find a cross. And here he has another opening. Looks to tap it into the midfield, and he'll ricochet off the Woodbridge defender for a Borough corner. At the 41-minute mark, Borough are looking to get on the scoreline so they can head into the halftime break with at least a goal. Here's El-Bamarki over the corner. A number of towering Borough players are waiting on the far post, including Alexander, the tallest on the field. It's played more to the near post, and that's comfortably dealt with by Woodbridge. Alexander finds it on the edge. Here's El-Bamarki. Alexander. And Morrow will meet it, but Borough, are able to recover well. Dorrigan thought about the shot, but it was well intercepted, and across is played into the far post. Alexander was there to meet it, and he just went over the bar. It was an offside call anyways. But those are the kind of services that he's been looking for over 42 minutes in this OPL3 final. If there's anybody you want on the end of a cross, it is that man, Cosmo Alexander. And perhaps going into the halftime break, perhaps Borough will re-strategize and see how they could get him some more service to his head so he can offer more of a threat against Woodbridge. The ref will step forward to break off the scuffle once again. But the foul will go against Woodbridge. As we're inching closer to the halftime break. It's been a fun affair between these two sides. Both sides have had a decent handful of opportunities to go on record. But ultimately, it's the one goal, courtesy of Andrea Mora of Woodbridge, that has them up 1-0. And he looks to press the goalkeeper. Spread out to Dorrigan, who finds Garibo off the left. Garibo looking for options. He had a number of runners, opts to go the safe route back to Dorrigan. Dorrigan plays the crossfield pass to the right wing. And El-Bamarki lurking off the left, has a chance for a touch. Unfortunately, touched it right into the defender. And Woodbridge dealt with the pressure, and now they have an opening. There's Lato. Ivan finds the midfielder. Back to Ivan. He has options up the left. Secon taps it to Capello. Capello looking to use his speed to play down the byline, but is well defended. And back at the feet of Janiki Zeballos. Alexander got the touch, but the defender did just enough to push him off. There's Kopp. Terciara will go long. And Campello does well to recover. Here's Ivan. The pass is hit a little too hard, and Alexander looks to tap it in through. The ball is played into Albemarque as we inch closer to the halftime break. Albemarque does well to bring it down, but it's dealt with by Alessandro Bruni. And this perhaps could be the last attempt before the halftime break for Borough to get on the scoreboard.
The fourth official has indicated there will be a minimum of 1 minute of additional extra time.
1 minute of additional time has been stated. And Davidson plays along to the left wing. And the referee will blow a foul to the discontent of the Borough side as they felt like that was a weak challenge to blow for. Woodbridge are looking to recover quickly and start off an attack to Campello. Well dealt with by Borough. Here's Woodbridge. A foul is called against Borough. And this will be a set piece for Woodbridge, with a chance to potentially get one more goal before they head into the halftime break. They commit bodies forward. They're really pushing for this one, hoping to get something out of this and give themselves a 2-goal cushion so they can head into the second half with a more meticulous approach. It's played over to the far post. There's a lurking Ivan on the back post who heads it, and it just goes a few inches over the bar. And that will lead us to our halftime breakers. They're not able to go 2-0 up, but they still hold a 1-0 lead, courtesy of the goal by Andrea Mora. This is the OPL3 finals between the Borough FC and Woodbridge. And we'd like to take a moment to thank the partners of the Ontario Premier League. A big thank you to the Cruyff Institute, educating the future leaders of the soccer industry. Thank you to Gatorade, rehydrate, replenish, and refuel. One Soccer, the home of soccer in Canada. Follow your favorite OPL alumni as they compete in the Canadian Premier League, the TELUS Canadian Championship, and with our Canadian national teams, all exclusively on One Soccer. MSA, Major Sports Analysis, delivering the data behind the game. Every men's and women's OPL match is powered by MSA Insights, with performance features and data-driven spotlights shared across OPL and club social media channels. And the game ball is brought to you by Voight, the official ball of the Canadian Premier League, and the preferred match ball of the Ontario Premier League. A big thank you to Hummel, the official apparel supplier of the OPL, the Canadian Premier League, our game, our country, our league. And a big, big thank you to Ontario Soccer, encouraging us all to play, inspire, and unite. Make sure you stick around. The second half of our finals between the Borough and Woodbridge is just around the corner.
For all the latest OPL match updates, scores, stats, standings, and news updates, be sure to download the PSLC Match Day
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Apologies for the delay. This is the finals of the OPL3 between Woodbridge and the Borough. And we saw the goal from Andrea Mora in the first half for Woodbridge, giving them the 1-0 lead going into the halftime break. And it was a pretty decent affair between both teams in the first half. They had their fair share of chances across the board. We saw a number of those long passes from Borough's midfield looking to find Cosmo Alexander. And he had quite a number of link-up attempts between the midfield to try to get something going, but wasn't able to get a goal at the end of a number of those sequences. And a lot of the Woodbridge crosses, especially those first-time crosses into the box, looked pretty threatening and dangerous and was their focal point of attack in the first half. And they'll be looking to replicate some of that effort in this second half. As Kopp will try to look to play a pass into Capello, but Capello is offside off the left wing. The winger duo of Capello and Leto on the left and right have looked to be very promising, as Capello is a pretty quick and crafty winger who, when given the ball in enough space, can make things happen for this Woodbridge side. So they'll be looking to exploit that wing as often as they can. And the defensive duo of Davidson and Dorrigan have relatively been solid, and they've been the main point of passes, especially those long ones into the offense, such as we've seen from Davidson now, which was well intercepted by Sekon. And Madden and Kopp will look to play this forward. It's played back to Torchiaro. Torchiaro looking for long options. A little overhit past Mora. And the midfielder of Borough is fouled. And they'll have a chance to advance. As always, we want to say a special thank you to some of our partners that make this possible. Thank you to the Cruyff Institute, Gatorade, One Soccer, MSA, that's Major Sports Analysis, Voights, Hummel, the Canadian Premier League, and Ontario Soccer. There's Di Bueno, who looked to skip past Saquon, but second wasn't having any of that, although he fouled in the process. And Borough will look to get things restarted. Here's Davidson off to Dorrigan. Dorrigan looking to exploit the run being made by Menendez. Diaz with some trickery through the defense of Woodbridge will earn himself a foul a little bit closer to the Woodbridge box. And they'll have a chance to play in something dangerous, hopefully to try to get back on the score sheet in this game. There are a number of options available for the Borough. A key one will be Alexander, the number 9, towering above essentially everybody on the field today. Here's an opportunity for Albemarle to play something into the far side for the Borough. He opts to go for it himself, and that's played over the bar out for a goal kick for Woodbridge. The obvious choice seemed to be to play a pass, but he looked to catch the goalie off guard. Wasn't a bad attempt on goal. It was dipping quite sweetly, but unfortunately did not dip enough to his liking to cause any problems for Torchiaro. He goes long to find a frequent option in Andrea Mora, whose header couldn't help the ball land in a comfortable position for him. He finds his way back to Ceballos, the man who, after 9 attempts during the penalty shootout, finally got the decisive goal that sent Borough to the finals, which we're playing right now. That semifinal game had to be postponed due to a lightning warning, as Capello looked to create some offense off the left, and he was well stopped by the Borough defense. He looked to break away, and Diaz was looking for an ambitious pass over to Albemarle on the left, and he just misplaced that a little more. And his pressure almost causing problems for Vincent Cobb, but he stays cool as ice. The dummy attempt did not go the way Borough would have hoped. He finds his way back to Torchiaro, who is being counted down by the ref to get things going. Once again, looks to find Mora. Well dealt with by Dorrigan. Here's Mora again. Labide plays it off to the right. And now later we'll try to chase this one and play a first-time cross to Andrea Mora, who looked to get a first-time volley off, but couldn't make the appropriate connection. He got the first goal in 30 minutes into the first half for Woodbridge, which put them 1-0 up. And he looked to secure a brace for himself, but this time around wasn't as clinical as he would have hoped. He's been a constant source of opportunities for Woodbridge thus far, and he's always available for those long passes to eventually get the knock-on ball to get something going for Woodbridge. And as we saw, there is always an outlet for the crosses. Here's Ivan looking to exploit the right. Great one-touch passing makes an opening for Woodbridge as they look to calling inside, and there's shouts for a penalty, but the ref will not be having any of that. And Borough looked to play it off from the back. And that'll be a call which will hand over possession to the Borough. And the Borough, to be fair, have had their own fair share of opportunities. They've tried to exploit Albemarle off the left wing, with a number of crossfield passes to him. He's a pretty crafty winger who on the right attempts could get by his defender, but Alessandro Bruni, the right back for Woodbridge, has been doing a fairly good job against him. Here's Saquon, who looks to play it into the midfielder. Here's Ivan, off to the left for Capello. He's closely marked, and that's given away. Di Bueno plays a first-time pass to Alexander, who just strayed a little too far forward and has the offside flag raised up against him. That was a promising opportunity for him, where he found himself with a 1v1 opportunity, but this will be pulled back for an offside. And on both ends of the floor, it's often the quick succession of passes that have been the pivotal tool to create openings for both sides as Capello's touch lets him down. And Borough will look to make a push. They're opting to play out from the back as they so often did in the first half. Here's Zeballos. Out to Davidson. Davidson looking for options off the left. Ups the play short to Alexander in the middle. And Menendez almost played a great 1-2 pass off to Alexander, but it was well caught off by Woodbridge. And this is handed over to the Borough. And that pass forward was a little too ambitious, a little too heavy for Alexander to try to chase that with any true meaning. They're able to recover this back. Here's Menendez. Menendez. Back to the defense. Pietro Bon plays it to the middle. This was spread out left by Negri. And here's Elba Markey, who plays it forward to Garibo. Garibo looks for a man up in the middle. Alexander is chasing this. He gets a touch, and it goes just wide. A promising opportunity as Cosmo Alexander threatened his way to the middle and was not able to successfully steer this towards the way of the goal. He has shown a good amount of promise and hunger up there, trying to find different creative outlets and ways for him to get involved in this game. Here's Terciaro, looks to find Moro again. That's an offside call against Alexander. Woodbridge will restart things. And shortly we'll have a double change by the Borough, as George Drulius alongside Kareem Meridia will check in. We're seeing the captain from the Borough being replaced as Borough look to freshen things up in the midfield, just giving themselves more ammo to create opportunities in order to get back into this game as they look to play out from the back. Capello chases it, and they do well to alleviate the pressure. First time pass played in by Di Bueno to Alexander. Wasn't able to keep things under control. Here's Diaz. Diaz off to Albermarki. Albermarki looking to play it off Alexander. A little far left as there's shouts from Borough for a handball. And it's not called by the ref. Again, the ref deeming that to be a natural motion, having his hand in a natural position, so he's not going to call that. And this will give us a chance to see some of the changes by Woodbridge. The goal scorer, number 18, Andrea Mora, will make way for number 41, Christian Getsos. And we'll see Dante Labile being replaced. Wait, number 10, Thiago Villaes. Andrea Mora has put in a very good shift after an hour of play over at the front. A lot of times, Tachiaro will look for those long balls to try to find him so he can get the knockoff ball. He's gotten into good positions in the box as well. And naturally, his good positioning and running was what got the first goal for Woodbridge, which if things stay as they are, will see them to win the OPL3. Just over the hour mark, this is still Woodbridge in the blue, 1, and the Borough in the green, 0. As the winger for Woodbridge looks to play in a dangerous pass into the middle, and a tap on by Capello will make it 2-0 for Woodbridge. At the half-hour mark of the game, we saw Andrea Mora of Woodbridge make it 1-0. And just at the hour mark, we're seeing Capello back the second goal. He's been threatening off the left wing all game, cutting inside with his spiel and craft, and finally is able to lodge himself into a bit of space after a dangerous ball was played in to get the second goal of the game, for Woodbridge to make it 2-0 in an OPL3 final. And now all the pressure is on the Borough at the moment, as the clock is ticking down for them to create meaningful opportunities. They're fouled, and you're looking to make things quick. The sense of urgency is starting to build up. And the Borough are not happy with that call by the ref. It seemed to be a 50-50 challenge, according to the perspective of the Borough. And it will be an understatement to say that the bench of the Borough are quite displeased with that call. Tercharo will restart things as he goes long. Off to the left for the Borough. He'll look to exploit that left wing as they cross back. Albermarki is calling for it over on the right. The pass isn't too accurate to find him. And it's another chance wasted for the Borough, as they have a bit of a mountain to climb now that Woodbridge have the 2-goal cushion. This will be headed back comfortably to the hands of Janiki Ceballos. A through ball to Di Bueno. Albermarki will look to play it first time. Di Bueno looked to tap it past the defender, but Woodbridge deal with the pressure. Here's the substitutes, George Julius. Alexander looks to link off Albemarle. Well dealt with by Woodbridge on the defensive end, but they're still in the danger spot as they're not able to alleviate the pressure from Borough. Julius will find Menendez. Menendez looking for options, has to go backwards. Pierre Treborn now donning the captain's armband for Borough. It's well intercepted by Woodbridge, and they'll look to break away. Borough do well to recover, and there's a bit of a scramble in midfield as both teams are looking to break off the opportunities, and now the whistle goes in favor of the Borough. They'll restart things quickly. A through ball is played through for Albemarle to chase. Very well dealt with by Saquon, who will try to see this out of play. Great touch by Villegas. Ball bouncing all over the place at the moment and finds its way to Capello, whose touch let him down. Capello was one of those who got the goal in the semifinal matchup against Railway for Woodbridge as they won that game 3-2 to book their spot in this final matchup. Now it's played into Alexander. Alexander has a touch. He tries to squeeze it past the goalkeeper, but it's well saved as the bravery of Terciaro stops two back-to-back attempts to keep Woodbridge alive in this final matchup. Now they'll look to break away, but it rolls out of bounds for a throw. One of the best chances that Alexander has had all game for him to run onto and show his prowess as a striker. That's played off to the left by Meridia, but it rolls out of bounds. And shortly we'll see changes for both sides. As for the Borough, Dante Wright will check into the game.
Coming into the match, number 12, Dante Wright. Coming out of the match, number 7, Yassine El-Marki.
Here's Borough looking to play off of the left. They have lots of space. He runs into the defender, but there is no foul call against Woodbridge. Dante Wright had acres of space to run into right off the bench, full of energy onto the right. The pass wasn't able to teleport his way to him. And that was spread over to the right. Here's Alexander out in the midfield, looking to play it into Dante, who tries to cut inside and roll around the back of the defender. It's well dealt with by the Woodbridge defense. And we're approaching the 70-minute mark, and the pressure is starting to mount for Borough. As now we're seeing the momentum swing more their way, and they're playing with a little more urgency than we've seen them throughout the rest of the course of the match. And now finally we'll see the change for Woodbridge. Number 11, Christian Gallo, will sub into the game to replace the goal scorer, Emmanuel Capello. And Christian Gallo will now play off of the right, previously where Leto was playing off of. And on Capello's left side, Leda will now take the responsibilities of looking to create chances and create crosses off the left wing. Both goal scorers for Woodbridge now out of the game. And it's an opportunity for the rest of the legs of the bench players to keep the pressure on from Woodbridge instead of sagging off and inviting pressure from the Borough. Because we know they're going to attack more now that the game is coming towards a close. And they need to get 2 more goals to get back into this game. So many opportunities will open up at the back, which Woodbridge will look to exploit. Here's a promising attack from Woodbridge. Well snuffed out by Pietro Bon. And the defender for Borough is fouled in the process. A lot of times the key to success in this matchup has been coming down to how well either one of these teams can switch sides of play and exploit openings that present themselves, as well as how well they can capitalize on those link-up plays. And here's an opportunity for Woodbridge. It's played off to the right wing. The substitutes, Gallo, will look to make something happen off the right, but that's well defended by Borough, and this will roll out for a goal kick. Woodbridge inviting the pressure more and more, and now the foul will go against the Borough. As again, they're not too pleased with this call. Woodbridge will have an opportunity to utilize one of their best assets in the crosses that they've often played, which has led to both of their goals. And now Thiago Villas will stand over this. It's played over to the outpost, and that's headed wide. Borough looking to restart quickly. Off the left. As they push on, they're met quite comfortably with the defense of Woodbridge, which recovers well, and it's a quick first-time ball towards Getsos, who shrugs up the defender and tries to maintain possession without a go out for a corner. And he's done just enough to earn himself a chance for Woodbridge to make this a 3-0 game. A third goal would definitely break the hearts of Borough at this point in time. I would make the mountain ever higher for them to climb. But Borough surely feel that this game is still within reach. It's well defended. And the second official waves his flag to indicate the foul, which happens in the box. We have a man down from the Borough, which seems to be like a head-on collision between the two players. Hence the medics rushing on to ensure that everything is going on well between these two. But we've seen an interesting matchup in our OPL3 finals between Woodbridge and Borough. That second goal coming from Emmanuel Capello in the 63rd minute, as well as the first goal in the 30th minute, courtesy of Andrea Mora. Gave the 2-goal cushion, which Woodbridge sit comfortably on right now. And their duty is just to see this out as best as possible, while the Borough will look to push on with a greater sense of urgency and perhaps try to make this game a little more uncomfortable for Woodbridge. Things will get restarted as a nice cross is played in by Woodbridge. Is laid off to the attacker as it ricochets off the far post. A great attempt by Nicolas Alfieri has gone towards the post, and it could well have easily been 3-0 for Woodbridge as Borough is saved by the woodwork. Garibo and Ivan will be reintroduced into the game after that head-on collision from the corner we saw earlier. Ivan's all strapped up and ready to do his best to see out this game for Woodbridge, as he's been an ever-present source of stability in the midfield for Woodbridge. He's had to deal with the midfield pivot of Diaz and Menendez, constantly breathing down his neck and trying to create opportunities. Here's Alexander, who taps it a little too far forward for Di Bueno. And Woodbridge looking to string together an attack of their own. Kareem meets it off the left and does well to keep possession. He's met by Ivan. Shrugs him off and tries to beat the second defender, but it's a lot of work to ask of him. And Ivan does well to recover, and this will be played forward by Thiago. Long ball forward by Christian Gallo. The offside flag is waved, and this will be pulled back for a Borough free kick. Woodbridge were looking to break down this defense of Borough, as they've been committing more bodies forward, which has left a lot more openings at the back, which Woodbridge have not hesitated to try to exploit. Here's Borough off the left. They play a long ball forward to Kareem. He's not able to maintain this. Off to the left again. Kareem matched up against Bruni. He'll play across into the box. Terciaro does well to reach out and grab that and slow things down a little more so Woodbridge can catch their breath. He'll play it up long. Gallo will chase this, but it's headed back to Ceballos comfortably. Ceballos with a strong arm tries to find the attacker, Garibo, but that's well defended by Bruni. And both fullbacks of Woodbridge have played their part in holding a clean sheet position for Woodbridge, as Borough have often tried to use the wing outlets to create an attack for themselves, but they've done their defensive duties as best as you could ask of them. Here's Borough. Thrown forward by Julius, which is well defended by Ivan. He'll chase. Borough ball. Julius once again. Throws it long to Kareem, who tries to chest this down and bring it to his feet. And that'll be played out by Woodbridge. For the third time, here's Julius. Julius plays it off to Dante Alexander, the substitute, who is hounded by Sekon all the way to his own midfield. Ivan will recover. Here's Thiago chasing down the left. Taps it off beautifully to Ledo, who switched over to the left and is able to beat his man. Pierre Charbon came charging in with the tackle. And Woodbridge are not too happy about the no call on that sliding challenge. They feel that should have been a dangerous attempt at winning possession. And now they're pleading their case with the refs in order to make sense of this situation. And now you can see the exhaustion starting to creep into the game. Lots of players needing their hamstrings and calves to be stretched out in the dying moments as we're slowly but surely approaching the 90-minute mark in our OPL3 finals between Woodbridge and the Borough. And this will be the end of the road between these two sides. It's everything to play for at this point. Borough will look to make a change. They'll bring on Higgins to bring fresh legs into the game. And for Woodbridge, we'll see Noah Seolin check in. And now Dante Wright and Higgins will exchange wings, as Wright's made a number of decent attempts off the right, no pun intended, to create some opportunities. But it's time to test him off the left to see what he can do. Here's Ivan pushing through the midfield. That's a little bit congested. Manages to find Thiago, who tried to thread this through. It's well intercepted by the Borough defense. Menendez was looking to find Alexander, who this time finds himself off the left wing, and that'll be played out for a throw for Borough.
Woodbridge substitution in the 84th minute of play. Coming into the match, number 34, Noah Seolin. Coming out of the match, number 33, Gabriel Lido.
A strong effort from Borough as he pushes through the congested defense. And after a series of weaves and bobs, he's finally fouled along the way as he managed to find the pass to Dante right off the left wing. And now Borough will have an opportunity off the set piece to hopefully find a man, head this on into the back of the net, which will bring great joy to this Borough side, who have relentlessly done their best to try to create something out of this game. And the scoreline wouldn't be a fair reflection of the efforts that we've seen from this Borough side. Would they look to make something out of this? It's played directly at goal, and it goes wide left, and that's another wasted chance from Borough. Played long by Terciaro and flicked on beautifully by Getsos off to the right. The winger for Woodbridge beats the defender. He'll look to play a cross in. Instead, he cuts back and plays the cross into the far post. Getsos, who started off the attack, looked to get on the end of that, but this will go behind for a goal kick. A great sequence of play from Woodbridge, who have relied on their ability to get some quality crosses into the box. Less than 5 minutes to go until the 90-minute mark. And the pressure is mounting stronger for Borough. Well defended by Julius, who will look to start off the attack. Opts to play it off the middle, and finally the late whistle comes in favor of Borough. Another set-piece opportunity for Borough. As previously, the attempted to go straight on goal. This time it's a little further out. No chance of them going direct. But if the likes of Cosmo Alexander can get on the end of this, then this could spell trouble for Woodbridge. It's played to the far post. Headed out by Woodbridge. They look to start off a counter of their own. It's played off to the right. It slides in with a nice pass to the middle. But Zeballos was waiting for that and predicted that all the way through. And now here's Higgins, who finds Alexander off the right. Alexander is in acres of space. He plays across the box, but it couldn't be put away by Kareem. Second chance opportunity off for Borough as they play a scoff shot through. And this will deflect out for a corner. A great chance for Borough to create problems for Woodbridge. As in one of the rare moments that Alexander was able to get into some space. He was able to pick out his man, but he couldn't be put away. And now here's the corner opportunity for Borough. Just over 2.5 minutes up until the 90-minute point. The ref will organize things in the box. The whistle goes as the ref is not happy about the contest between Alexander and the defender. Just making sure everything proceeds the right way. And now for the third time, Borough will look to play this into the far post. It finds its way off to the back, but Terciaro was there to meet it, and Alexander with a second chance opportunity tries to push it to the byline to play across a cross. But it was just pushed a little too far forward, and we'll see another change for Woodbridge towards the end of this game. This time it's Savion Ventura.
Substitution in the minute coming out of the match, number 23, Nicholas.
And now the striker for Borough, Cosmo Alexander, will be replaced by Ibrahim.
Number 28, Savion Ventura, substitution in the 89th minute.
He's done his part in trying to create as many opportunities as a constant outlet for Borough. But unfortunately, tonight was not his night. He had a dangerous option towards the end to play a nice cross, which he took, and it wasn't able to be tucked away by the attacker for Borough.
Fourth official has indicated there will be a minimum of 5 minutes of additional time. A minimum of 5.
And now we'll have 5 minutes of additional time at the end of this OPL3 final. As Borough looking to move with some urgency towards the end in order to try to squeeze 2 goals miraculously in this final 5 minutes of play. It's launched forward over to the left wing and well defended by Woodbridge. And off to the right, he looked to push forward. He's quick and he's able to get it across. Waiting in the box is a Woodbridge attacker. And he seems to have been fouled. Christian Getsos went down after fainting past the ball. But there is no whistle by the ref, as he did not deem that to be worthy enough of a penalty call. And Borough survived the scare of potentially conceding a penalty in the dying minutes, even though they're 2 goals down. And now there's still a lifeline for Borough as they go long. That's well defended by the Woodbridge defense. And they'll survive the counter to maintain possession. Just over a minute into additional time. And the clock is running very quickly down for Borough. Borough looking to utilize one of their additional concussion substitution allowances to try to get Gabriel Gressy into the game for one last-ditch attempt. At this, hopefully this would buy a little more time on the referee's clock to afford them some more opportunities to get a goal or two. And now the final change of the game will come by Borough. They'll bring in Gabriel Gressy to replace Gabriel Pietrobon. Woodbridge will also see a change of their own. Emerson Papandrea will check into the game. And now after almost 2 minutes of stoppage, the referee will get things underway. Borough look to push things forward as Woodbridge take care of the ball. Julius hits the back heel, which ricocheted off the defender and goes out for a throw. Here's Julius looking to start off quickly. The clock running down. 3.5 minutes into stoppage time. Woodbridge recover, and it will be a long throw forward by Saquon. Higgins tries to tap this forward for Kareem to chase and is put out of bounds by Luca Madden. Julius looking for options in the box. He'll play it back to Menendez. Menendez has worked tirelessly this game to try to push the pace forward for Borough, as a long, ambitious effort into the box will comfortably be recovered by Terciaro. There's a long effort forward. It's played right back by Woodbridge. He tap it forward. And it's almost a great ball forward to Getsos. It's well intercepted by Borough. And now they'll have a second chance off the right. Getsos gets it off the right, met by 2 defenders. Ibrahim does well to defend. And this would be Woodbridge throw. It's played forward quickly. Davidson tries to get rid of it, and it bounces right back into the box. And now Higgins tries to play it off, and on the second attempt, Borough finally able to get the danger out of their half. And the Borough are simply furious by the proceedings going on right in front of their bench. As now we're well over the 5 minutes of minimum additional time. And Borough at the moment are living on Borough time at this moment. Off the right is Gallo. Gallo in a bit of space against Wright. And this will roll out for a corner. And this is not the kind of position that Borough will be looking to find themselves in at this point in time, being 2 goals down in the final. And Woodbridge will take as much time as they can buy in this moment to slow down this game and try to meticulously see this one out. Here's Woodbridge, who will look to just hold this one and burn the clock over the corner flag. And the job has been done successfully. And the seconds are ticking ever closer towards that final whistle. The ref brandishing his yellow card seemingly for time wasting by Woodbridge. But at this moment, that will be of little significance to them, as Ivan will play it all the way back to Kopp. Across to Madden, who will find Sekon, who has had a strong defensive game, and this will roll out of bounds for a goal kick for Borough off the pass from Sekon. And potentially this could be the last kick of the game, as Woodbridge sit comfortably with a 2-goal cushion over Borough. But it looks like the ref will afford them one more chance to make a launch forward. It's played over to the left wing. Well dealt with, and Ivan will put this out of play. And here is the final whistle from the match official. Woodbridge are your champions in the OPL3. The 2 goals from Andrea Mora and Emmanuel Capello, enough to see Woodbridge over the finish line and finish with a comfortable 2-0 lead in this final matchup between the Borough FC and Woodbridge. They fought to get a 3-2 victory in the semifinal, which proved to be a tough test against Railway, but this final matchup has seen them execute their game plan to perfection. The relentless crossing, the high-energy style of play being the key to the victory for Woodbridge, while the Borough see all their efforts not go recorded on the scoreboard and will have to go back and reflect on how they could have done a better job to execute their plan. But for now, all props will go to Woodbridge for being the 2026 champions of the OPL3 men's division. Sandro Bruni on the right, and Armand Sekon off the left. They did a great, fantastic defensive effort to lock down the wingers no matter what Borough threw at them. But after a long series of matches throughout the summer of 2026, we have Woodbridge Soccer Club as the winners of the OPL3 division. And we'll begin with the medal ceremony shortly. As always, we want to say a massive thank you to all of our partners that make this possible. A big thank you to the Cruyff Institute, Gatorade, One Soccer, Major Sports Analysis, Voight, Hummel, the Canadian Premier League, and Ontario Soccer. This has been a great final matchup, and from all of us at the OPL, we want to say a big thank you as we proceed into the medal proceedings. This is David Akinyemi saying good night.
Let's all put our hands together for a round of applause for today's officiating crew. Now we'd like to call forward the players and the staff from the Borough FC to receive their runners-up medals.
Is that instant captains? No, it's here? Oh, you're all happy.
2026 Ontario Premier League 3 Division Champions, Woodbridge Strikers. And your 2026 MVP for the Ontario Premier League 3 Division Championship match, Ivan Nechiporo. Let's put our hands together one more time for this 2026 Woodbridge Strikers squad.